tectonic plate move apart. Magma rises to form a new oceanic crust. This process expands. Seafloor spreading. Seafloor. Subduction on mountain building. Subduction. Transform boundaries and earthquakes. Formation of Rift Valley and new continents. Continental drift and continental drift and plate movement. Alfred Wegener. Dynamic and continuously changing due to tectonic movements. Even by the internal heat and mantle conventions. Plate movement. Continental drift plate movement. Alfred Wegener suggests present continents were once part of the supercontinent Pangaea, which broke apart to the tectonic forces. Pangaea, and the drifting continents continue to change shape and position. Drifting continents due to plate movement. Drifting continents drifting continents continue drifting continents continue to change shape continent and position. Drifting continent drifting continents continue to change shape plate movements. Seafloor spreading. Are divergent boundaries such as the mid-Atlantic ridge, divergent boundary. Tectonic plates move apart. Magma rises to form a new oceanic crust. Magma rises to form a new oceanic crust. This expands ocean base. Crust basin, pushing continents further apart. For example, the widening of the Antarctic Ocean. Subduction on mountain. Convergent. One plate subducts beneath another. Subducts, leading to sinking of ocean basin. Sink. The formation of mountain ranges. For example, the Himalayas were formed by the collision of Indian and Eurasian plates, reshaping the continents, sinking the ocean base, and formation of the mountains, transform boundaries and earthquakes, convergent boundaries, subducts beneath another. One plate subduct beneath another. A transform boundaries plates slide past each other. See and is altering the position and sometimes the shape of landmasses. Formation of Rift Valley and new continents. Like East African Rift, continents are breaking apart, forming a new ocean basins in the future. Rift Valley, actually East African Rift, continents are breaking apart. Tectonic activity constantly reshapes the Earth's surface. Tectonic activity constantly reshapes the Earth's surface. Configuration of continent and ocean over the geological time scales. Altering the continent of the. How far it correct to say that? How far correct to say that First World War was fought essentially. Balance of power. Assassin the First World War fought primarily for the preservation of the balance of power, holding significant merit through the it simplifies the complex causes behind the conflict. The it simplifies complex causes behind the conflict. First World War significant merit. Balance of power theory was aims to prevent any one nation from becoming too dominant, preventing one nation becoming dominant. Central to European diplomacy. In the decades leading up to the war, actually was central to European diplomacy. Decades leading up to the war, alliance formed such as the Triple Alliance, Germany, Austria, Hungary, Italy, and Triple Entente, France, Russia, Britain. Mitra, Mitra Shakti, central power and the allied power. Stated this intention. Tension grew as nations competed for territorial expansion. Tensions grew. Compete, for, compete with each other for territorial expansions. Imperialism, colonialism, military supremacy, and colonial dominance leading to where a misstep could escalate into border conflict, leading to a violent environment. Leading to a violent environment. Played a critical role, particularly in the Balkans, for ethnic tension and desires for independence. Ethnic tension challenge the existing ethnic tension and desires for independence. Challenge the existing order. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria. Ethnic tension and desires for independence. Challenge the existing order. Franz Ferdinand of Austria Hungary in 1944 served as the immediate catalyst. Ferdinand for war. Immediate catalyst. But it was deeply rooted in the struggle to maintain or disrupt the balance of power. The war ultimately becomes a power, but also for ideology, with empires vying to assert their influence. Empires vying to assert their influence in a rapidly changing world. Some continents, some states, they want to dominate, they want to influence. In conclusion, while the preservation of a balance of power was a fundamental motivation for the war, it is intertwined with nationalism and imperial ambition, colonialism, making it an oversimplification to attribute the conflict solely to this factor. Militarism and imperial ambition, making it an oversimplification. Industrial revolution in England responsible and cottage industry. Industrial revolution. The decline of handicraft and cottage industry in India, mass productions. Factories in England to produce good and on a large scale, reducing the cost of production and making British products cheaper. Industrial revolution enabled factories Good on large scale. Good on a large scale. Reducing the cost of production and making British products cheaper and more accessible than Indian handicrafts. It is easier to access British products rather than Indian products. Cost effective. Cost per production. Reducing British colonial. The import of British colonial policy. British colonial policies favored the import of British goods, while imposing heavy tariffs on Indian handicrafts. Tariffs further undermining local industries. Colonial policies favored the import of British goods while imposing heavy tariffs. Disruption of local market. The influx of machine-made goods disrupted traditional Indian market, leading to reduced demand of handicraft items, which are often more expensive and time-consuming to produce. More expensive and time-consuming. Loss of livelihood. Son, craftsmen who relied on cottage industries. Artisan craftsmen found it increasingly difficult to compete, leading to widespread unemployment and a loss of traditional skills. Shift in consumer preference. The British promoted their own products, leading to shift in consumer preference among the Indian towards Western style goods, further diminishing the market of local crafts. The British in a shift of consumer preference towards Western style, shifting of consumer preference among the Indian towards Western style good, further diminishing the market. Cultural impact. The decline of handicraft and not only affected the economy but also had cultural ramifications. Traditional craft and skills were lost. The decline of handicrafts and cottage industry not only affected the economy but also had a cultural nutrition. Economy but also traditional crafts and skills were lost over generations. Craft and skills. In conclusion, the Industrial Revolution in England played a crucial role. The handicraft decline and cottage industry not only affected economy but also ramifications. Crafts and England played a crucial role. Industrial Revolution. India handicrafts and cottage industry primarily through mass production, colonial policy, market disruptions, resulting in significant economic and cultural and industrial revolution primarily through the mass production. Primarily through the mass production. Primarily through the mass production. Market disruption, resulting in the significant economic and cultural. Actually,